Kit Kats, welcome back to another video. If you're new, please click the subscribe button, turn on post notification, like, share, comment. Y'all know the procedure. Just do what you gotta do. Before I get started today, I would just like to apologize for being absent for 2 whole weeks. It was for a good cause. But there's gonna be a lot of videos coming your way for this month. I already got them planned out. I already have a couple of them on the phone to be edited. But I just thought that because we're in the month of June, most of my Kit Kats are students. So I thought it would only be fit to do a exam preparation video for the first one. So I know I normally post on Saturday, but I didn't want to wait until Saturday because it's kind of far and I'm not sure when you guys' exams start or whatever. So I'm gonna post this today when you're seeing it, obviously. Yeah, so as I said, this video is about tips for exam preparation. Okay, so ever since I've been attending school, and we're talking about from high school, first form, one of my greatest challenges when it comes to school and exams and all of that was always finding an effective method of studying. Like, I don't know which method in the book I don't try. Like, been there, done that. Like, it took me probably up until sixth form to find an effective method, like a method that really works. Because all the other times, I was really just swatting. Like, no, you pass the exam, but then after the exam, you ask me a question and I really don't know. So if anyone knows how to study really well or really bad, that's me. I'm a girl. That's me. If you're like me or anything like me, most of you that are watching this are probably studying wrong. And I know people don't like to hear that they're doing something wrong or whatever. But the fact that you're studying and you're not retaining, or you just retain enough for the exam, then you're doing something wrong, right? Normal people study by taking notes in class. When it's time to really study or prepare for the exam, you read through, you read over, you highlight, and that's it. That's how most people study. That's called passive studying, right? It's you doing all of that and you feel accomplished because you feel like you're doing so much work by rereading or rewriting and highlighting and all of that. I personally benefit from rewriting certain notes, rewriting, rephrasing, but that's not where I stop, right? Because that's passive study. You feel accomplished because you're doing so much work and you feel like, okay, that's all. When really actually that's you just doing extra work for no reason. Well, I'm not gonna say no reason, but it's not the most effective method. So with that being said, my first tip is active recall. Now, active recall is a method of studying, but as the name suggests, you're finding active ways to remember the information that you need to know. So, like flashcards, that's a method of active recall. Questions and answers, that's a method. Practice quiz, stuff like that. So what I do is after I rewrite the notes, well, I wouldn't say rewrite because as university students we get slides. So what I do is I read from the slide and I read from another source or sources that I think or that I know is a good source, is a useful source, and I basically summarize that. I put it in my notes. After I do all of that, I I make questions. So after I'm done with making the questions and reading the notes and writing the notes and summarizing all that, I have to answer those questions. So that's me actively recalling on the spot. There's no answer underneath there. There's nothing. It's just me having to know these stuff from my memory. My second tip is having the right resources. So, um, so you're not gonna have all the time in the world. From textbook to websites to your own notes from class. You're not gonna have all that time if we're being completely honest here. So it's very important that we can find a source, whether it's a textbook or a website outside of our notes that we take in class or our slides that we receive from lecturers. It's very important. So for example, for anatomy and histology, I use KenHub. KenHub is a very useful source. It provides videos and stuff like that. So it's important for you to find a specific book or website, whatever the source may be, as long as you know the information is reliable and you can grasp the information from there. Third tip is to figure out what type of learner you are. So you could be a visual learner, an audio learner, or a kinetic learner. So for me personally, I'm a visual learner. I have to see it. I cannot just be listening and get it. No, I have to see diagrams. I have to see whatever it is. I have to just be able to visualize it. Once I'm in the exam and I see a topic relating to whatever I should know, I should be able to visualize whether it's a cycle or an organ, whatever it is, I need to see it. So I tend to watch videos, look at diagrams, stuff like that. If you're an audio learner, it helps to listen music while you're reading or to tape yourself reading and then re-listen those. If you're a kinetic learner, then you have to be moving while you're studying. You have to be moving while you're reading. Whether you're walking in the house or you're doing some form of chore, probably can be listening to it, but you have to just be moving. My fourth tip is using the right tools. This can be linked to using the right resources. But when I say using the right tools, you have people that write because taking notes on a laptop or an iPod would be distracting when it's time to study. Then you have people who find it hard to write, like they're not the type to write. So they take notes on their electronic devices. Other tools can be, personally I like to have my notes color coded. So whether it's a highlighter or a sticky note, I tend to have, like for example, my pink highlighter would be used to highlight something that I definitely need to know. It's a must. That has to come back on the exam. Right? And I'd have the green highlighter that, okay, it might come back on the exam. But my fifth tip is to know your syllabus. I'm pretty sure if you ask your teacher or your lecturer for the syllabus, it will be no problem for them to send you. But it's so important, it's so useful, it's so helpful to know your syllabus. Like, it makes studying so much easier. It's important to know the syllabus, and it's important to know the objective of each topic that you're supposed to be learning. When you have the syllabus, you literally don't overstudy, if that's a or you're not pressured to know extra information that you don't have to know right now. And the sixth and final tip is time management. Yes, I know everybody goes on about time management, but it's easier said than done. But hear me out. Hear me out. Right? On the days that we're not procrastinating, because I'm not going to sit up in here, I'm sagging. I'm not going to stand here and tell you I don't have my days of procrastinating. But that's going to be a whole different video. on the days that we're not procrastinating, right? It helps a lot if you can figure out how many topics you have to learn per course or per subject. What you do is divide the total workload by the total time allocated. So if you have 60 topics for that course or for that subject, you divide the 60 topics by 60 days. You do one topic a day because you're not studying one course or one subject. So you have to make time for the other subjects or courses. You get what I'm saying? Just start in advance. It's easier said than done. It's honestly easier said than done. The next thing that falls under time management is using a timer. It's important that you don't pressure yourself. Like, I don't think anybody has an attention span more than 1 hour. What I do personally, you can use, whether it's a watch or your phone, just set a timer. I personally set a timer for 45 minutes. So I use that 45 minutes to get as much information or get as much work done as possible. When that 45 minutes ends, I take a 15-minute break to do whatever it is, whether it's chores or just relax, be on your phone, whatever. And if you're gonna be on your phone, matter of fact, no. Just set a timer, another 15 minutes timer, so you don't go over that 15 minutes, because time flies when you're having fun or when you're not studying, especially when you're not studying. It's like time slow down when you're studying. Like, it's the longest 45 minutes of my life. We get the point. Just set a timer, right? It really helps. That's your 6 tips to prepare for your exam. So, with that being said, with that being said, Kit Kats, I wish you the very best of luck on your upcoming exams. Remember that only your best is good enough, and if you have to cry, just cry. If you have to let it out, the frustration, let it out, take a nap, and get back at it. We're not giving up. We don't give up over here. We don't give up over here. So, I'll see you on Saturday.